All right, hello from Indy. I'm going to do a series of videos. I'm going to do 4 videos on the 8 3/4 Chrysler short grip differential. This would be the clutch type. I bought this one from a guy. It's pretty much brand new, but he had managed to put it together wrong. And they're really not that complicated, but there's not a lot of information available on these on YouTube. Of course, you can always use your service manual, but a lot of guys, I don't know, they just don't know you can get them for free, or they don't like to read. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. So I'm going to do 4 videos on how to disassemble, inspect, reassemble one of these, and then I'm also going to go over the Yukon unit. This is a Yukon unit right here, but what I'm doing, you'll be able to see if you're using a factory short grip. And then in the last video, I'll explain a few things that are different on this. But if yours is not a Yukon unit, don't worry. Everything here is going to be the same, okay? Basically what I'm telling you will be. So the tools you're going to need your socket set to undo your bolts. And you're going to need 2 filler gauges. And this is what you need to take it apart. So before you undo these bolts, and I've only got them undone now because I'm doing this with one hand, and it saves a little time. If you look right here, this is called your pinion shaft. And you'll notice in the case, there's a V-groove. That pinion shaft also has a V-groove. Then the top is rounded, so you know that this goes down. As you turn it sideways, you'll notice there's another one, but it's in the upper half of the case. And there's a V-groove and a V-notch in the shaft, and it's curved, so that's the upper part. There's 2 shafts, okay? So that's one thing you're going to need to note. The other thing is, before you disassemble it, you can do like I do and stamp a number in this side, punch mark, a score mark, something that lets you reorient these 2 halves when you put them back together. If you have already got yours apart and you didn't do that, don't sweat it. I'll explain how to do that later, how to line it back up and figure out which side was which. So the first thing you're going to do before you undo any bolts, you do anything, is you want to inspect the clearance here. How you do that, and I can only do it with one hand, so you're going to have to follow me, but you would use both feeler gauges at the same time on the same shaft on opposite sides. Start with 4/1000th, okay, and see what you get. But you're doing both sides at the same time, so you're going to have 2 hands filling the same shaft, okay. You want, again, like I said, we're going to start with, if I can get this view, 4/1000ths. That's where you're going to start. You don't want more than 20 thousandths. If you have 20 or more, then you know you've got a problem, and it's going to be your clutches. Lastly, there might be a variation. Say I've got this one in here, okay, and this one on the other side at the exact same time, and there's more than a 5/1000th variation between the 2 sides, then that also means you've got excessive wear, okay? I hope that's don't make this harder than it is. You're going to measure this side and that side. Then, once you've done that, invert the case, because you want to measure this one also. There's 2 clutch packs in here, and you'll measure this side and the opposite side, okay? If there's any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I'll try to clarify it. And again, sorry if this video is not the greatest. I'm doing this one-handed. So let's get these bolts out. Also, one other note for you guys. When you undo this, this thing's not under like great pressure or anything. The only tension in here at all is that little clutch disc. Once you undo the bolts, it'll relieve all that pressure. You don't need to worry about this, the case cap, just when you undo the bolts, shooting across the garage or anything. There's no danger with that. So we're going to take our case cap off, okay? And that's it. there's a bearing and a case cap, and that's all you have. Okay. Lastly, just set that down the way you took it off. Now I had it looking at it, but we're just going to pull it up, set it down exactly the way you took it off. Okay. Now this is the disassembly video. We're going to go over the inspection video a little later, and there's some things you'll note. But the next thing that's going to be able to come off is your clutch pack. Okay. One thing you would want to look at when you take apart your factory unit is whether your thin plate is next to the case. Okay. The case cap. On a factory sure grip, this plate should be your thin one. There should also be 3 of these with these tangs, and there are 3. That's an important thing to know. But we're going to set it down exactly how we take it apart, in a line. Okay. The next thing that's going to come off is your side gear retainer. Remember, in the car, this is leaning over to the side, like this. Okay. In the car. This is your side gear retainer. So we're going to take this side gear retainer, we're going to set it down. Obviously, that was your side gear retainer. This is going to be your side gear. Now you have your pinion shafts and your little spider gears. And this is another area where you're probably going to see some damage. Let me set this on this towel. Okay. And again, later I'm going to show you how to check the orientation and everything here in the inspection video. And you would, be looking for broken gears. But we'll get to that later. Okay, then you have another side gear. I'll get this out with one hand. And again, we're just going in a line. That way, if you've never done this before, everything will be just how you took it off. And then when you go to put it back in, you can do it right in the reverse order, okay? And then we'll have our other plate. Side gear retainer is what it's called, actually. And then your other clutch pack, which is in the bottom. And again, when you do this, you want to also note, just like on the other side, I told you how the thin plate needs to be against the case. On this one, you would want the thin plate against the case. And now we just have the lower part of the case and a bearing. Okay? That is it for disassembly. When I go do the rest of the videos, I'm hopefully going to have a GoPro, and I'll be able to do it with 2 hands and show you. So next video is we're going to go through and we're going to inspect everything. And I'm going to show you what to look for, and then we'll get that done. All right, later.